Hello, it's Amy from Soft Wind Crafting. I hope y'all are having a great day. I wanted to show you how to make a gift card holder using the Poppin By stamp set. This is on the last chance buy list at Stampin' Up, so it's getting ready to go off. But anyway, it's a very simple gift card holder. You can just open it up and you have a place to stick in your gift card. Little thing that says happy birthday. And I think it's so stinking cute. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and show you how to do this using our Poppin By stamp set, but most importantly, the dies. All right, so here we go. We are going to start with a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock, and this is a quarter of a sheet, so it's 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then I took some retired paper. I liked it because it had Calypso Coral, but like also Daffodil Delight, and it made me think of butter spread around popcorns. This is from a retired set of Waves, with Waves in the Ocean, I think is what it was called. But anyway, this one is cut down to 4 1/4 by 4. So let me grab some Tombow glue. Now remember, when you are putting your glue on your paper, you can want to get it close to the edge, but not super close, because you don't want it to go squeezing out. And also keep it light. This is very strong cardstock, or very strong glue. So what we're going to do is we're just going to center this top to bottom, side to side. And there we go. So that's just a flat piece. Okay, so be careful because it does slip and slide. So you want to be careful. All right, so then I have another piece of cardstock. And this is crumb cake, and it is 8 1/4 by 4. Okay, and so I did score it at, let's see, I scored it at 1 3/4, and then at 3 1/4. Okay, so 1 3/4, and then the next one was at 3 1/4. Right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and burnish my edges. So we'll fold that in. This end, the short end, is going to be where we are going to put our gift card holder. And then this other part is going to be the top part of the main centerpiece on the card. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock, same designer series paper, and this one is 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm going to lay it on top. And you can, I did not punch a hole, like a thumb hole. I think it was low enough that you could easily get your gift card in and out, so I didn't. But after you glue on your designer series paper, this would be a good time in which to punch out a finger hold, or I don't know what they would be called, the little slot here to be able to pull out anything more. But I don't think it's needed because this is such a small flap. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put it at the very edge, but I'm going to be very light. You can use double-sided tape, your tear-in tape for this as well. So I'm just going to put this here. And then I'm going to put it down. I'm going to hold it for a little bit so that the glue sets. Okay. There, and so just letting it set. Okay. And we're going to have a piece that's going to go on the inside and a piece that's going to decorate the outside. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my white for the inside. And this is basic white cardstock, and it measures 4 3/4 by 3. Okay. And what I wanted to do is I want this to say happy birthday. So I want the outside to say Poppin By to say, and then the inside you open up, happy birthday. So this Poppin By doesn't have a happy birthday. So I grabbed Delightful Wishes, and happy birthday is not separate, but you can very easily use the section that says happy birthday without it, let me grab a block real quick. So I'm going to just put this sideways. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use Lost Lagoon to tape the happy birthday. But what I want to do is I'm going to you can cover this up with a Post-it, or you can very carefully just stamp the happy birthday part in the Lost Lagoon. You just got to be careful that you don't get that A in there as well. And then when you go to stamp it, center it according to the happy birthday. And for some reason, my ink has decided to pull up. So I'm going to go ahead and let the ink transfer. And there we go. It says happy birthday. Ready to go. And so now I also want to put in some popcorn at the bottom here. All right, so I'm going to grab my little thing of popcorn, little container, but I don't want the box on here. I just want the popcorn to come out. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. You can notice that I have a much older stamp pad here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up just the top part of this stamp. It's going to get down here below as well, but I'm going to use just the top part. So I'm going to kind of tap, tap, tap. I'm checking. And so what I notice is that the popcorn starts at this little indentation versus that indentation. So I'm going to come along and I am just going to grab my scrap. And so then I get a better indentation. I have a little mat that goes underneath. And so now I'm just going to put some popcorn there. Then I'm going to do the same thing, tap, tap, tap. I'm going to come across. I'm trying to keep it so it's just popcorn. And again, one more time. I'm sorry if I'm sticking my head in the camera, but there we go. Okay, so now we have our little popcorn set up. Let me put my ink away because I have a tendency to somehow get my hands into the ink or something. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's put on some glue. We're going to now put it on the inside. We're going to kind of center it top to bottom, side to side, and try to get that straight. I'm forever thinking that I have things straight. I must have like something going crooked in my brain, because as soon as later I'll be looking at it and going, oh, that's not quite as straight as I thought it was. Okay, and now we're ready to do the top piece. Okay, so what we're going to do, there's a couple of steps to this. So I do need to clean my little popcorn, because to make our little popcorn on the front, we're going to stamp a couple of times. Let me make sure I'm grabbing my scrap and not what goes on the inside, what goes on the top of my card. Okay, so this is scrap. So what I'm going to do, in order to get the two colors for my popcorn and container at the top, first I'm going to stamp it in Daffodil Delight. Okay. So I did not get a good impression there at all. So let me get rid of this, because use that pad for when it's a photopolymer stamp, but this is that red rubber, so you don't really need anything under it to get a good impression. You get a better impression with that, with a harder surface. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and let it transfer, let the ink transfer. And there we go. That's much better. All right. And so now I also want to use Calypso Coral in order to make another one. Let me go ahead and use my chamois to clean. And now I'm ready to Calypso Coral. Go ahead and do the same thing. All right, so, and it's going to dry up a little. It's going to dry lighter than what you see. All right, so sorry about that. I just knocked over some stamps. All right, so what we're going to do is I am going to cut out, okay, both popcorn pieces using the popcorn die. I'm also going to cut out in crumb cake the glasses and the shoes. And then I'm going to cut out in Lost Lagoon. I'm going to cut out these like little pieces of movie strip, film strip, I guess is what it would be called. All right, and so what I'm going to do is once I get these cut out with the die, I need to get rid of this red. I'm just going to cut that piece away. I'm going to cut off the feet of the yellow, and then I'm just going to take the red and glue it onto the top here so that it has the yellow in the background. And by the magic of photography, I have already done so. So you can see I cut off the red popcorn. You can kind of see how it goes back here. I just glued this to the top of the yellow popcorn. I'd cut off the yellow feet so I didn't have to worry about lining that up. I glued on the glasses I cut out and the shoes that I cut out in crumb cake. And then I added some dimensionals to the back of the popcorn, right? And then I cut out 4 of these little film strips. And by the magic of television, I went ahead and glued them to my white piece of cardstock here, and it is 3.5 by 2 3/4. And so I just kind of like glued them across because this part's going to be hidden behind the popcorn as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I do need to stamp out the Poppin By to say part. Okay, so let me pull that out. And if you're wondering why I don't put the stickers on here, it's because I can never get them straight. I've tried a bunch of different things that people have suggested, like leaving them in there, then laying the stickers on top. For whatever reason, they never come out the way that they're supposed to. But anyway, so here we have Poppin By to say, and this time I do want to cover up the hello. So I'm trying to get I want to make sure this is straight to the bottom of my block, because that way then I know I'm then I'm stamping fairly straight. Okay, and I'm going to use a bit of Post-it note tape in order to cover up the hello. Okay, and so that I'm just going to cover that up. And then I'm going to grab my Calypso Lost Lagoon ink pad right here. Grab some, this is just scrap white. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to put it in, you could, but I'm not going to. I'm still going to just try to stamp on the edge. And it will get some of that Post-it note tape. Now, when you're ready to actually, oops, I got a lot of, I'm going to end up with a halo effect. Let's try that again. I wasn't pressing in, but for some reason with this ink pad, you really have to have a light touch. Okay, let me try it a little bit again. That's better. Now, before you stamp, make sure you tape off that tape, or you're just going to defeat the purpose of having covered that up. You'll still end up with tape everywhere. All right, so let me get that straight. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to be straight. And there we go. Poppin in to say. And so the inside, open up, happy birthday. You can trim this down. And by the magic of television, I already did it and then glued it to a piece of crumb cake in order to kind of like frame it out. I added some dimensionals to the back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put all these pieces together. Let me go ahead and add some glue. Someone's calling my hubby. We've really small house, so everything goes through. So now we're ready to put this on the cardstock for our gift card holder. And just make sure that it's in the right direction before you glue it on. Okay, so if you want, you can ask me how I know to do that. So let's make sure it's straight. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the backs of my post-it or my dimensionals using my take your pick tool. We're going to put that in there. We're going to do the same thing with now our little popcorn bucket. Okay. And there you go. And now we're going to go ahead and glue this and center it to the front of the card. Okay, so here we go. And now you're going to just center it. And there you go. Now you have a gift card holder on a card. So here's a place where you can put in your gift card as you're ready to go to make your thing. All right. Well, anyway, again, it's Amy Sharp with Softwood Crafting at Stampin'Up.net, or not at, but .stampinup.net. And if you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be yours.